Well, good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana Weather. Wanted to bring you a quick forecast update this evening. It is the 4th of December already. Can you believe it? Nothing really exciting going on. In fact, it looks like a pretty nice weekend, a warming trend for us. High pressure is large and in charge. That moves off to the east, and so we'll get a few more clouds as the weekend does start to roll on, but no rain chances really here until possibly a small little rain chance here late on Sunday night into Monday morning, but that's just a real passing sort of thing, and then it's gone. Boring weather pretty much continues for most of the week. You see kind of a small little passing chance shower later on in the week there as well. Nothing really significant until this next cold front starts to move in, and that won't come to until here. Well, you see here about the 13th, 14th of December before that starts to move through, but once that moves through, and you see, according to the GFS model, it might even get chilly enough for some flurries on the back side of the system. Here's where things start to get interesting. We've got a low pressure that's going to start to develop down here to the south, and watch what this does. As the GFS model right now has it as a low, very intense low in the deep south, going up as an Appalachian runner. Gives us an all-out snowstorm, but let's back up, because now you're starting to see something that would give you significant snow. In fact, if you just look at the snow depth, it would be a pretty significant little storm system as far as snow is concerned that it would give you. The big question is it right? Well, let's back up for a minute, because you'll hear the hype possibly going on about this on social media. The hype train will begin anytime you get this. Let's put the brakes on it, not so fast. Here's what I want you to see. So this is the run from this afternoon. Look, the GFS model is run 4 times a day. Look what it said this morning. Totally different picture. So, in fact, this morning it had a 1019 low, 1019 millibars, which is a pretty weak low overall, and just some light showers. Now it has a 983 low, which is just a monster storm, and has heavy snow for us. Well, that's a very big difference, and the real thing I'd want you to see is, folks, this I have this. The chances of this happening right here are slim to best at none. They are remote. We're going to see this happen all winter long, where the GFS brings up these kind of phantom storms here and there. You may see some others start posting it on social media. I'm not gonna do that. I am just gonna say here in videos, let's put the brakes on this and hold on. Is it possible? Well, yeah, maybe, but it doesn't really fit the pattern. Let's keep in mind this does not fit what the GFS ensembles are saying right now. Whenever you're looking into the long term, the ensembles are always better to look at than the deterministic. The deterministic is what this model is, and that basically means it's one model run. But we have some other models that we can use called ensembles, and what ensembles are is ensembles take the initial start conditions that we use of the operational deterministic model, and it tweaks it just barely so that it's a tiny bit different, and it does that dozens of times. And so then what happens is each of those model runs that are tweaked just slightly end up being different. It conglomerates those all into one to get an average, or what we call an ensemble mean. That helps us to get closer to normal, and it means you get less variation in radical spikes in data like you see of this, where it goes from, in this particular run, where it goes from this morning to its afternoon run looking like this. That's unreliable at best. Now, could it be? Well, likely whenever we get another run, it's not going to look like this. It's probably a one-time deal. We'll have to see on that. But the ensemble temperature spread looks like this, which would not support a major snowstorm. Bear in mind, this is saying, well, about the 17th of December. Look at what the ensembles are saying for the 17th of December. Highs here into the mid-40s. Lows only near freezing, but we warm very quickly back up into the 40s for the next days. The ensembles do not support a snowstorm like this. So keep that in mind. You may hear that, but let's not make a big deal out of it. The other thing I want to say is it really doesn't fit the pattern. In fact, one of the more reliable models that we have is the Euro model, and just look at the indices for the rest of the month on the Euro model. This is its ensemble system, which uses 50 members to average out. Its operational model here, the control run here, is the black line, but what you want to see is this green solid line with the boxes on it. That's the ensemble mean. Here's a North Atlantic oscillation. You want this negative if you want big snowstorms, something that can slow it down and let it stay over us. It stays positive all the way through January the 4th on this. The Arctic Oscillation allows that major cold air, the AO, to come down from Canada. It's got to be negative if you want a big Arctic outbreak. It stays positive all the time. Its operational model spikes it down a couple of times, but overall you see the ensembles, they don't do this all the way out. It stays pretty mild. The EPO, the East Pacific Oscillation, another thing, you want it negative if you want those strong storms. It stays positive really all throughout that in the green line. And you know that, so these indices, they just don't indicate it. In fact, if you look at what the Euro ensembles are really trying to say to us, just look at this. This is temperature anomalies for the next month. I'm looking here at the 850 millibar level, and so that's not surface, but it's up enough. This is basically where the snow would be happening at. And just take a look at this. Let me just click on the days, and this is, as you see, some days being extremely warm across here. In fact, by the time you get into these days, that's corresponding with those days where we're hitting 60 degrees, as you see there. In fact, as I continue on in this, well, let me just show you. We never cool down the rest of the month. We cool down compared to the heavy that we do, but the temperatures are always on the above normal side. And look at this. Sometimes it gets pretty decently above normal too, until we maybe start to go just a little bit normal as we head to the later in the month, but that doesn't last too long until we get these way above normal temperatures again. So if you just look at the data from this all the way through the rest of the month, it does not support a big snowstorm. So whenever you see something radical like this spiking up in the data, yeah, it might look nice to be able to see a map like this and, whoa, that looks like that could be a pretty big hefty storm system. Let's share that to social media, or let's hype that up. No, we can't do that, because what may end up happening is something like this seems much more reasonable with what the data is showing from the other models, with what we call these teleconnections, these indices. This is showing us what's going on in the jet stream, in the patterns. This does not lead to this kind of a setup. So this will probably fade away. Bottom line is, I don't believe this as far as I can throw it right now. If it stays consistent, then we'll talk. But right now, this is just fantasy land at this point. I would not look for this to happen. If you end up having this kind of an AO pattern for the rest of the month, frankly, what you're going to see is a non-winter. You're going to be stuck with temperatures in the 40s and 50s. That's exactly what you're seeing even on the GFS ensembles here as well. So I look for a pretty warm December. Does that mean that we couldn't have snow? It would mean if we did, it would have to be a quick shot, and it would be in and out fast, folks. And it would not be several inches like this. It would be an extremely fast-moving clipper system, and frankly, that's not likely. It just really doesn't fit the pattern at this point. But if you go to southernindianaweather.com, click on 10-day forecast, you get that nice warming trend up to 52 under some beautiful sunshine for tomorrow. A few more clouds on Sunday, but still nice in the 50s. Back to the 40s for Monday, with maybe an isolated passing shower Sunday night into Monday morning early. But look at these temperatures, still pretty mild in the 50s, even up to the mid-50s, upper 50s, back into the 60s by next weekend as well. I mean, these are just very pleasantly warm temperatures, well above normal. Average high right now is about 46 degrees, so we're looking 10-15 degrees above normal as you go on. So enjoy the warm weather, folks. If you are a winter lover, well, I'm sorry to burst your bubble. I don't see anything big coming down the pipe. Even the things that I see on the models are just looks like an anomaly, and I'm not really buying into it right now. Maybe, just maybe, it'll prove me wrong. But I've been forecasting this type of weather for a long time now, folks, and this just doesn't fit the pattern. So I think what we're going to see right now is pretty much a warm month overall, and it's probably going to be January before we start to see major winter weather kick in, if not even after that. You can thank El Nino for that. El Nino is just too strong, and it's holding on. It's gripped so tight right now, it's going to be later in the winter before we start to really see anything. Folks, that's it. I'm meteorologist Michael Wilhite. Have a great night. Enjoy the beautiful sunshine this weekend.